A reading from the book of Revelation. A great sign appeared in the sky, a woman clothed with the sun, and with her the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. She was with child and wailed aloud in pain as she labored to give birth. Then another sign appeared in the sky. It was a huge red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns. And on its heads were 7 diadems. Its tail swept away 1/3 of the stars in the sky and hurled them down to the earth. The woman gave birth to a son, a male child, destined to rule all the nations with an iron rod. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Eight days after the Assumption of Mary, the Church celebrates the Queenship of Mary. And they do this in order to emphasize the close bond between Mary's queenship and her glorification in body and soul next to her Son. What does it mean that we honor Mary as Queen? What is this queenship? Mary is Queen because of her unique association to her Son, both during her earthly journey as well as in heavenly glory. She's the mother of the Lord, the King of Kings, and she points to Jesus as our life, our salvation, and our hope. She participates in God's responsibilities over the world and in God's love for the world. There's a commonly held idea that a king or queen should be a person with power and riches. But this is not the kind of royalty proper to Jesus and Mary. When we look at Jesus, we see that his kingship is interwoven with humility, service, and love. It is above all else to serve, to assist, to love. We recall that Jesus was proclaimed king on the cross with this inscription written by Pilate, King of the Jews. In that moment on the cross, it is revealed that he is king. And how is he king? By suffering with us, by suffering for us, by loving us to the end. It is in this way that he governs and creates truth, love, and justice. Or let us also think of another moment at the Last Supper, when Jesus bends down to wash the feet of his disciples. Therefore, the kingship of Jesus has nothing to do with that which belongs to the powerful of the earth. He is a king who serves his servants. He showed this throughout his life. And the same is true for Mary. She is queen in God's service to humanity. She is the queen of love who lives out her gift of self to God in order to enter into his plan of salvation for the world. Remember, to the angel she responds, "Behold the handmaid of the Lord." And in the Magnificat she sings, "God has looked upon the lowliness of his handmaid." Mary helps us. She is queen precisely by loving us, by helping us in every one of our needs. She's our sister, a humble handmaid. So how does Mary exercise this queenship of service and love? Well, first and foremost, by watching over us, her children, the children who turn to her in prayer to thank her and to ask her maternal protection and her heavenly help, perhaps after we've lost our way or become weighed down by suffering and anguish on account of the sad and troubled events that life throws at us. In times of serenity or in the darkness of life, we turn to Mary, entrusting ourselves to her continual intercession so that from her Son we may obtain every grace and mercy necessary for our pilgrimage along the paths that we pursue in this world. To him who rules the world and holds the destinies of the universe in his hands, we turn with confidence through the Virgin Mary. For centuries, Mary has been invoked as Queen of Heaven. I have always loved the Hail, Holy Queen. We pray it each time we pray the Holy Rosary, and she's implored under that title in the Litany of Loretto, plus Queen of Angels, patriarchs, prophets, apostles, martyrs, and all the saints and of families. The rhythm of this ancient invocation and daily prayers, such as the Salve Regina, help us to understand that the Holy Virgin is our mother, next to her Son, Jesus, in the glory of heaven. She is always with us in the daily unfolding of our lives. So the title of Queen is really a title of trust, of joy, and of love. And we know that what she holds in her hands for the fate of the world is good. It's good. She loves us. She helps us in our difficulties. My dear friends, devotion to Our Lady is such an important element in our spiritual lives. In our prayer, don't neglect to turn trustfully to her. Mary will not neglect to intercede for us next to her Son. In looking to her, let us imitate her faith, her complete availability to God's plan of love, her generous welcoming of Jesus. Let us learn to live by Mary. Mary is the Queen of Heaven who is close to God, but she is also the mother who is close to each one of us, who loves us, and who listens to our voice.